have a confession to make. I dread the day my knives need sharpening. Just to be clear that this is not sharpening, this is honing, and I do this daily. It only takes 15 seconds. With daily honing, my knives stay in good shape for 6 to 9 months. But sooner or later, the day comes when they don't go through a tomato even after honing, which means they need sharpening. Honing realigns the existing edge. Sharpening gives you a new edge. Since I'm a serious cook, I did teach myself to sharpen on a whetstone. I even have a video about it. But it's a skill I only practice twice a year. That's just not good enough to be consistent. Half the time I sharpen my knives, I have to pull out the stone in another week to fix my mistakes. It's messy. It makes my fingers and nails look dirty for about a week. It's not exactly a kitchen task I do with joy. So I finally gave in and bought myself America's Test Kitchen recommended Chef's Choice Trizor 15XV. You might be wondering what took me so long. Well, I was worried about it scratching the blade, removing too much metal, and the price of $150. But I have to say, I was very pleasantly surprised, and I kind of wish I made this purchase sooner. Nope, it's not a sponsored video. I paid for this thing myself. Before we get into the Chef's Choice review, I have a quick announcement. If you want to know when I post new videos, join my Patreon community for free. This is not an attempt to get a donation for my channel. It's just a way to deal with the fact that YouTube notifications suck. Okay, back to Chef's Choice. First, let me talk about the scratches. These are not the scratches on the edge. They are cosmetic scratches on the blade. Why was I so worried about them? Well, because I was watching too many geeky knife people on YouTube. By the way, I love geeky knife people, but sometimes they make me slightly paranoid. The reason I stopped caring about the cosmetic scratches is that I got some with stone sharpening. They're small enough that it's hard to see in the video. I'm not sure how this happened, but I'm guessing that some slurry from the stone got trapped under my fingers and left these tiny scratches. Are they interfering with the use of the knife? Not at the slightest. Since I already had some scratches, I figured I had nothing to lose and tried Chef's Choice. And guess what? Not a single new scratch. But if at some point little scratches happen, I'll live with them. I view my knives as tools, not as works of art. The first time I sharpened, I tried all 3 stages: coarse, medium, and fine, because I wanted to see how much metal the tool would remove to give me a completely new edge. It wasn't bad at all, barely more than I would do with a stone. But all 3 stages are rarely necessary. I recommend that you always start in the 3rd stage. It polishes more than sharpens. If that doesn't work, try the 2nd and 3rd stage. And only if that doesn't work, try the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd stages for a completely new edge. In the Boston area, professional knife sharpening for an 8-inch chef's knife costs roughly $20, but it typically requires a trip to drop the knife off and another trip a week later to pick the knife up. For most people, it would take at least 2 hours to get this done. Even at a minimum wage of $15 per hour, that's $30. So the real cost of taking a knife to a professional sharpener is at least $50. Add to that the hassle of scheduling 2 trips and being without a knife for a week, and no wonder everyone's knives are dull. Paying $150 for having any number of knives sharpened any time seems like a good deal to me. This is a 15-degree machine. I've had its cheaper 20-degree cousin for many years. When I started cooking, most cooking knives sold in the US were 20 degrees, but that changed. It's not just Japanese knives that are 15. These days, most good quality European brands have changed to 15-degree angle. Originally, it was only the expensive brands like Wusthof, but now even the affordable Victorinox and Mercer are 15 degrees. So if you're trying to decide between a 15 and a 20-degree sharpener, keep in mind that any knives you'll buy in the future are likely to be 15 degrees. The hardest part was reading the instructions. The first time it took me 10 minutes, but on the subsequent times, I just needed a quick reminder. The actual sharpening took 5 minutes. Make sure you store the instructions with your sharpener because the devil is in the details. One of the reasons I'm making this video is to remind my future self how to do it. First, let's talk about the speed. On an 8-inch chef's knife, it should take you 5 to 6 seconds to pull the knife through a slot. The only skill required is learning to pull the knife at a steady pace. The angle is controlled, so you really can't screw this up. If you want to establish a completely new edge, start in stage 1. That's the one on the left. Slowly pull the knife through the left side. Then slowly pull the knife through the right side. I find that I have more control and stability if I place a finger on the spine of the blade without applying any pressure. After each pair of pulls, check for the burr. That's a tiny bit of metal pushed to one side. If your knife is not very dull, you'll get a burr after only a few pulls. If it is very dull, it might take as many as 10 or even 20. You don't want to remove any more metal than necessary, so check after every pair of pulls. If you've never sharpened anything before, you might be nervous about your ability to detect a burr. Don't worry, it's really obvious. Brush your finger down like this on both sides. If they feel equally smooth, you don't have a burr. If one side feels smooth and the other side feels rough and you feel as if your finger is getting caught, that's the burr. The question is, do you have a burr on the entire edge? Do this brushing motion on the whole edge to check. If you feel the roughness everywhere, you're done with the first slot. If you only feel the roughness in some parts of the edge, do another pass through the left and the right slots. Okay, we have a burr everywhere and can move on. Stage 2 is the middle one. It works just like stage 1. Slowly pull the knife through the left slot, then the right slot. Do both the left and the right slots one more time, and then check if you have a burr on one of the sides through the entire edge. If not, do the left and the right one more time and check again. Stage 3 removes the burr and polishes the edge. Pull the knife through slowly on the left and then on the right for a total of 3 pairs of slow pulls. Check both sides to make sure that the burr is gone. Then do 3 pairs of fast pulls. A fast pull should take 1 to 2 seconds. And that's all there is to it. Time to test our knife for sharpness. Take a piece of magazine or newspaper and see if you can do this. If you aren't quite there yet, make a few more fast pulls through stage 3. Wash and dry your knife and enjoy your new edge. I'm sure a question will come up about honing on a rod. Is it still worth learning if you can just pull your knife a few times through third slot? I think honing on a rod is still a useful skill. A video for it is in the description below. A rod is easier to store and pull out. After a rod, I don't need to wash my knife, and after Chef's Choice, I do. I don't have room on my counter to keep this machine plugged in all the time. I don't mind pulling it out every 6 months, but not every day. However, if you have serious manual dexterity issues and using a rod is not working for you, I'd say get this machine out once a week and give your knife 2 quick pairs of pulls through stage 3. Just don't forget to wash it afterwards. Here are more very detailed culinary tutorials for you to check out, and if you are ever in the Boston area, maybe I'll see you in one of my classes.